You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There, ladies, things that makes official. Welcome to 16 years and 2,500 episodes of the Chris Voss Show. Boy, does my back hurt carrying all these shows. Of course, I've always joined by the most amazing, wonderful, insightful, knowledgeable guests that make me look smart because I'm kind of stupid. I flunked second grade. Isn't that the callback joke on the show? Anyway, guys, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Help us keep pumping out more shows, more knowledge, more education, because the world is filled with stupid. I've been on Twitter, folks. It's over there. That's why you're over here. You want to learn shit, because if you learn shit, you're smarter, you make more money, your life's happier, or maybe just learn how unhappy you should be because the world is full of stupid people. There's that. I heard a report that people are depressed. The more intelligent someone is, the more they're depressed because they have to live in the world with people on Twitter, I guess. Anyway, yeah, it's a callback joke. We like to beat up on Twitter. Anyway, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Facebook.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss one, the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Today, an amazing young man joining us on the show. We're going to talk to him about his entrepreneurial insights of being a 7-figure solopreneur and achieving total freedom without having investors, partners, or a boss. Doesn't everybody want that? I wanted that when I worked at McDonald's when I was in my team. Greg Woodward joins us. He's the founder and CEO of Woodward Strategies, a revenue operations and inside sales advisory firm based in Washington, D.C. As a preferred vendor to several of the largest private equity and venture capital firms, Woodward has been instrumental in the successful turnaround and rapid growth of numerous companies, including most notably 2 multi-billion-dollar exits. Well, after that used to be something. Now Elon Musk is getting $1 trillion. So
that's right.
You got up your game.
It's small marbles now.
There you go. Welcome to the show, Greg. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Good to have you on as well.
Yeah.
Give us your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
WoodwardStrategies.com on LinkedIn and Gregory C. Woodward.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so give us a 30,000 overview of who you are, what you do, and how you do it.
So I've always been an entrepreneur. I wasn't a successful one in the beginning. And I'm based in DC. So basically what my business is we go into roll-ups, private equity roll-ups, and we help integrate the sales teams, and we focus specifically on pipeline generation. Ramping and scaling their BDR or their SDR teams, which is like the prospectors, right? The outbound, the outbound component of it. So I'm obsessed with outbound. I've always been sort of obsessed with outbound. Came from before that, I was a CEO of a venture-backed company, had investors and all that kind of stuff, and I was still doing outbound. It's just you wind up doing what you're good at or interested in the most, I guess. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's how we got here.
There you go. There you go. How did you get the entrepreneurial bug? What happened to you? Who hurt you when you were young?
I don't think I had a choice, right? I mean, I was a bad student, so I figured I had to do something different. I think that was probably it.
Wow, that sounds like me. I started my first company at 18 and never looked back. And I got fired from McDonald's for having long hair. And listen, I had a Van Halen T-shirts, Satan, clearly Van Halen. It's like mainstream rock and roll, but I did have like Black Sabbath and Ozzy shirts. So, and I never really started my first company, but once you get that drug, man, that's a hell of a drug, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I've always had a fundamental aversion to having a boss. I like having anybody else in charge of directing your day to day. To me, I consider that like a private hell. So for me, that is the worst case scenario.
Are you married, Greg? No, I'm just doing married jokes. Just doing married jokes. I'm single. That's because I don't work well with a boss. Anyway, married jokes there. Just doing a few. We have a whole assemblage of callback jokes for 16 years in the show, Greg. I think we're still dragging the original show at this point. So Tell us what you do now and how you help companies. Who's your customer target? If I'm out there listening on
Sure.
LinkedIn or other resources there, LinkedIn's a good money resource. Who's the customer for you that you appeal to, and what do you do for them?
Basically, the person that I sell to inside of a company is a chief revenue officer. It's the person who's in charge of the revenue organization, or sometimes it's the senior vice president of sales. What I do for them is help them get pipeline and get predictable pipeline. And once that's predictable and there's inputs and outputs that you can forecast with, then you fix the rest of the problem. It's like filling up a tank with gas. When you fill up the tank with gas, you start to see where the holes are. The first thing you got to do in a company, especially if it's a group of companies that were just acquired, is you've got to fill up the tank with gas and find out where the holes are really quickly, because every month you're burning gas.
Yeah, you get that burn rate, man. You got to watch that burn rate.
It's brutal.
I've watched so many people in Silicon Valley and startups, they don't pay attention to that burn rate, or, they're banking that they're going to have that, that next round. We're going to get that next round. You're like, and then sometimes the economy turns, or maybe things turn on that sort of segment of what they're doing, and you kind of get stuck. And, there's a lot of great apps I've seen, and programs or different companies I've seen and products, and some of them are brilliant, but they run out of funding. It's kind of a sad thing.
One of the things I see, though, I'll tell you this is something I've been riffing on for a little while here. Having the experience with what you just described, the tech company that has the investors, that has a sort of artificial pressure, not artificial, a forced pressure to deploy capital and hire people and all that kind of stuff. There's some wisdom that I learned in going small to get big, getting real narrow, and saying, like, when I started Woodward Strategies, I remember it was 9 years ago, I was sitting on the rooftop of my apartment in DC, and I was telling my fiance then, but my wife now, basically, look, I don't ever want to work for anybody, and I'm not going to. So,
you can't make me.
Yeah, you can't make me. No, I said, I'm going to start a company. It's going to have no investors. I'm going to fund it myself. And it's going to generate at least 7 figures in EBITDA every year.
Wow.
I give myself 3 years to get there. It's not going to have employees unless I want to hire employees. It's not going to need employees.
Yeah. Do that virtual thing.
She's like, I don't think you're going to pull that one off. Okay. Well, that's what I did. That's what my company is. Now, from time to time, I'll bring in people in contract and stuff, but I don't have employees other than myself. It's by design. So my whole point there is, if you look at a business like mine, or many solopreneur type businesses, or consulting businesses, then you look at their EBITDA and you compare it to the EBITDA of a company that just raised $40 million in a Series B round and has 100 employees, who do you think is higher? And who is not getting fired by the board?
Who's not getting
the idea? Yeah. Right. That's what happens. These entrepreneurs, they get fired by their own boards because they raise capital and then they have to raise more in a down round and they lose control.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Then sometimes your CEO ends up at the baseball game or the Coldplay concert with the HR girlfriend. So
that's a riff-raff. Yeah,
both married.
That's why you shouldn't have employees, right? If that won't happen.
Honestly, I'm expecting it to happen more often because I mean, no one knew what that company was before that.
Yeah.
So that was like the best free advertising ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was total national recognition.
Like I'm surprised most CEOs aren't going out now in startups and being like, I'm here with my sister and we're from Utah. No, I'm just
they probably will. They will. There's always an imposter.
Yeah. I'm a polygamist and I'm cheating on 5 of my wives, not just one. This should get more viral stuff.
That'll help the stock price.
Yeah, that's what I just plan on doing. Whenever I go into Silicon Valley and pitch like Mark Andreessen and shit, I just he opens up the thing there. I forget what they call it. He opens up the pitch deck, and in the first and second page, that's it, and it just says, "We'll get a CEO is willing to get caught cheating on his wife and kids at a game to make this thing popular,
make it all happen."
I bet I can get $2 billion with that. It might work. Yeah.
It might work.
Yeah. You just got to have a good parachute out the back door where they're like, okay, here's some money for that. Good job taking that one. You're never going to work again, but here's some cash. Right. So some of the things that you do, and get into. You talk about building this total freedom. It's hard to be a solo entrepreneur, isn't it? I mean, how hard is
Nothing,
this to scale this?
nothing's easy. I mean, that's
That's true. Good
that's why
point.
most people aren't doing it.
That's good point. Um, there you go. There you
What do you want
go.
me to say?
Well, I
That's the
mean,
true answer. It's
tell us.
fucking hard.
I want to hear about the bloodletting and
Sure, I'll tell you about
the
blood.
suffrage and
Look,
the
here's
masochism.
you're opening up a bigger point, which is worth making, I think. When people watch conversations like this one that we're having right now,
Mhm.
and they're watching it from just a normal place in the sense like in their life, they're working for another company and they've been there for 5 years and it's perfectly fine. The grass always looks greener on the other side of the fence. So what you have to be careful of is you have people that should not be entrepreneurs thinking
Mhm.
into themselves that they should be entrepreneurs and they need to do it now. And
Mm.
here's why somebody should not be an entrepreneur. If the thought of working for someone else feels comfortable to you versus rolling the dice and taking a risk as an entrepreneur, if that's the case, you should not be an entrepreneur. The real entrepreneur, to answer your question, how do you get through it if it's hard? The opposite of it, right,
Mhm.
is an absolute private hell. Like, to me, like, working for someone else produces more pain, even to think about, than the stress that's involved with running a company.
Oh
Once
yeah.
you get it stabilized and you start to get a reputation, right now I don't have stress, but I did for the first couple of years. Sure.
Let me ask you this: why do we, as these people who I'll just jokingly call it "don't play with others,"
Right.
because we do. Uh, but why do you think it is? My version is, well, I'll wait for yours because I don't want to weigh on it. But why do you think it is that we have trouble having someone be our boss?
I just think I just think it's a personality, right?
Oh, okay. We're narcissistic, dark
Maybe
triad,
it could be that. Yeah.
Machiavellianism.
I mean, it's the same reason why I didn't like being in school. I remember in high school, I used to
Yeah.
sometimes I would just get up and leave.
Did you have ADHD
Yeah.
disease or
Oh God,
C?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You
Which is
have
a
this
gift. I mean,
ADHD.
people. It's not a.
Oh
It's like honestly, everybody I know that's rich and successful has ADD.
yeah.
Period. I
What
don't
were
know
we talking
anybody.
about again? Squirrel.
Exactly. Squirrel. There's a squirrel. No, once you learn how to harness it, it's a gift. The
Uh,
way that the education system, at least the way it was when I was there, I'm sure it's the same now or worse,
oh yeah.
is it's like everybody has to learn one way, and if they don't, they have a disability, and the pharmaceutical companies can make a shit ton of money.
Oh, I was treated horribly because
Oh God, it was awful.
a couple of my about the only person who got me was my psychology teacher,
Yeah,
and I would drum on the desk when I got bored
yeah.
and it was kind of a nervous habit, but I was just bored out of my fucking mind.
Oh yeah.
And so, even he would yell at me, and then he took me aside one day, and I go, "Is there something wrong with me, doc?" And he goes, "No, you have a lot going on in your brain, and
Yeah.
you're using the drumming to, you know, whatever, exercise that, or maybe, whatever, or you're just psychotic, which is probably true
Yeah.
too."
Yeah.
But my real belief systems, and I'm not sure why. I was talking to somebody about this morning. I was raised in a cult, and I had no outside voices in the cult I was raised in. I had no reason outside of me. And I just got done buying tickets to the band Rush and
Mhm.
paying a small fortune. But you have two kidneys, you only need one.
Yeah.
And and I was talking to my friend about how influential the band Rush was and their lyrics, like Free Will and other things, that gave me a signal that there were people that weren't these cult zombies in the world, that thought like I did. For some reason, I thought like a weirdo, and they
Yeah.
thought I was a weirdo. But I was just using logic. I was just like, can I just see some proof, or can we make these two dots connect? Because they don't.
Right.
And shut up and have faith. And and I think the beatings I took from that, both psychologically and physically,
Yeah.
and everything else learned from the one is I developed through that compression, that anvil, that the air compression chamber of cult ism was to learn to see outside of the box.
Yeah.
And things like I remember there was people that saved me, dude. They saved me. If I hadn't found these people, I wouldn't be alive today. So
Yeah.
Rush was one of them. George Carlin was one of them. How he would talk about religion. Sam Kinison was another one. And I started finding people that were out
Yeah.
there in the world. It was like the zombie movie where the whole town's gone to zombies. You're the 5 people left, and you go running across America to try and find other humans because you hope they're out there. And so I was talking to my friend about this and that compression. And so some of it's, I think I had a lot of trauma from it. So it used to be gaslighting. So if a leader would tell me, or my boss would tell me something that was illogically stupid, it would trigger me, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's our issue. We kind of have some unresolved trauma from childhood. And when some idiot comes up with some policy or some rule or tells us something that you're just going, do you hear the words coming out of your fucking mouth?
Yeah.
It kind of triggers us and we go, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't know. That's my theory.
No, you and I are probably very similar, especially the way we came into being entrepreneurs. I mean, school just wasn't possible for me. I mean, I was terrible. I tried really hard and it was terrible. I couldn't learn the way they were teaching. So when I learned later in life how to learn, I can learn. I just have to do it a different way. But the belief systems that we have are basically, and I can tell this, that's our operating system.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is, comes from like deep programming, from stuff like when you're younger. And there's ways that you can kind of crack that. I mean, a lot of the people that I know that play at a higher level in terms of their output have to have, basically therapy from time to time to kind of crack open like a new layer.
I went on Zola for a while. Times in my lifetime. And lots of vodka.
Lots of vodka.
That's part of the
whole routine.
My doctor prescribed it. That's what I'm saying.
But getting real serious about mindset in that sense is vitally important. There's no way in the world I was ever going to get traction without doing that. So
yeah, one of the things I did is I became a strategist. And it just occurred to me, this is the first time it's occurred to me in 57 years, but I early on became a strategist. I used to love playing games like Risk and Stratego, and I would play them to an obsessive, I have OCD, obsessive compulsive thing. It'd be like, we play like 100 games a day. Wow. And I would, and then I was even more enamored when I got on a computer where I didn't have to have anybody who was tired of losing to me play against me, and I would try and game the computer and beat it. And so I really fell in love with strategy early on, but I just had an epiphany just now talking to you. The reason I was doing that was I was trying to survive. I was trying to come up with strategies to get me out of the shit and to survive what I was going through. Right. And wow, that's a powerful thing to think about today. I'll go talk to my psychiatrist about that, and he'll go, "We're still doing the lobotomy."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you. I think you're right on that. Go ahead. I don't mean to.
Well, it's if you think about it, I'm thinking out loud here.
Mm-hmm.
I think what that did to me was I have a fundamental like aversion to doing what other people do,
mm-hmm.
and I think that's where it comes from. I never really thought about where it comes from, but I think that's probably where it comes from. If everybody's doing something, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to run. I want to run in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you ever notice financial advisors are not wealthy people.
Good point.
Like, why the fuck would you take financial advice from somebody who's not rich?
Yeah, I've tried asking
some
very good accountants that are very nice people that live a very modest life, how to do trusts and other sort of things that rich people do, instruments that they use and stuff, and that's out of their head game. I get it.
That's how I look at the education system.
Yeah. It is made. It's gotten worse than when you and I grew up. It's really hard for boys because boys are so energetic. They've taken away recess and some of our outlets, and but that OCD mind, being able to take things apart a million times over and over again. Yeah, it used to be a curse when I was a teenager. I would check the door 20 20 times at night to make sure I'd locked it. And then I
Yeah.
go back and have some sort of insane conversation with myself. Are you sure it was today you locked it? I did have the luck of when I reached about 53 and I quit drinking and got healthy. I did have the luck of where it went away. And then part of the sex drive, that guy brain where you're like, chase girls, chase girls, chase girls.
Right.
That rabbit. And so that kind of started to fade. And I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
It's nice not to have to think about girl, and overthinking about something 50 times. And then I found out I was low on testosterone. So I got testosterone treatment 2 years ago and it's back. So
good.
The OCD, the ADHD, and the girls. So
the testosterone thing is happening to everybody.
Yeah, because there's a lot of estrogenics and chemicals in our drugs and our soap, microplastics. Yeah,
but they won't tell you that. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's something in the environment. It's something in the environment.
We've had a few people on the show that have detailed that and written books about it, and it's really true. It's really true. I quit. Anyway, we're getting off topic for what we're here to talk about for you.
Fine.
People are like, how did this become the paraben wax show?
No, it's all good. You got to go with the flow. Go with the flow.
But I bought the non-estrogenics, non-paraben shampoos and soaps, and I used them for a month, and I was like, this sounds like bullshit. I don't feel any different. And then I ran out of them, and I went back and used the old soaps, and my hands and skin felt like they were dipped in paraben wax and covered in gloves. It took me like 6 washings to get it off.
Oh my.
And so you're so used to it, you don't know the difference, so you do something different. So talk to us about some of the things and offerings you do on your website. What are some things that people can get involved with you over there? And I think you have a podcast too, don't you? Here I see.
Yeah, I do podcasts when there's something really interesting to talk about. I don't have a recurring episode structure yet, but I do that when, like, for instance, when I have a client that became a unicorn, I'll do a podcast with them.
There you go.
No, but like, so the companies I work with they're all B2B tech companies for the most part. On my website, there's ways to get more information and to do like an assessment of your current operation from an outbound standpoint. And that's how that next to referrals is how I acquire most of my new business.
Do you want to give a plug out to the title of the podcast so that people can look it up, check it out?
Sure. Woodward Strategy Sessions.
There you go.
Yeah,
Podcast.com, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But sounds like you got some really cool people to talk to. ROI models, sales teams, different things on marketing. How to scale a BDR team to 1 million in 12 months.
100 million.
100 million. I'm sorry.
100 million. Come on. 1 million.
I told you I flunked second grade. So.
Yeah, it's all good.
But no, I had a hard time in school too. So what's if I'm out there listening, what do I want to reach out to Greg about? What do I want him to do? Do I want to engage in his training programs? You've got a 7-week training program. Maybe here we should feature management consulting, campaign kits.
I have a 7-week program for sales teams. That's my main business. Next to consulting, I also have a program called Fast Track, which I run it for individuals like twice a year. If there was a business owner listening to this, that would be something that would be worth for them checking out. If it's just them, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. Private equity, venture capital. I'm a preferred vendor to them because they own larger portfolios of companies, and then sometimes it's just directly to the chief revenue officers of the companies direct. So,
all right. There you go.
And
so people can engage in that. They can do one-on-one coaching with you as well?
Yeah, they can. I do that twice a year with individuals. I usually do that when I do like a workshop or like a webinar series with a strategic partner, and there's a lot of people there. So I'll do that here. I mean, if you go to woodwardstrategies.com/navigate, follow the prompts.
There you go. Navigate and follow the prompts. What do we alluded this a little bit, and I'm always curious about this conversation. For a long time, I owned a mortgage company.
Yep.
And 20 years until 2008. Wow. Fixed that problem. Anyway, fixed a lot of mortgage company problems in 2008. Yeah. So I would have people come to me, and I remember one perfect example was this guy came to me, and he was a very rudimentary-minded math teacher. He taught math, probably algebra or something smart. He seemed like a really smart guy, but he's very rudimentary in how things work because 2 + 2 must always equal 4, which is good logic. But if you expect that if you do X amount of work in your entrepreneurial business, and you expect to get results, 2 plus 2 does not equal 4. Sometimes 2 plus 2 equals bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could tell in talking to them and processing this HELOC loan, he wanted to take like a $40,000 or $50,000 HELOC loan against his house,
Yeah.
and he wanted to start a business and retire from being a math teacher. And the more I talked to him, the more I could be like, this guy can't see out his way out of paper bag. This isn't going to be a healthy thing. And so, it's their money, but I would give my clients advice because you have to have some sort of fiduciary duty if you care about people.
Yeah.
I don't want to see people destroy their lives, especially when they're at that age. He was, in his 60s. So
Ooh.
it's not a good time to be playing games with your retirement. And I just, I talk to him and I go, I don't mean to be insulting, but you do not have the mindset for this.
Yeah.
I've been running companies for 20 years, started at 18. You or I, we've talked about, kind of we got shaped by the anvil, by the blacksmith anvil, the hard hits. And I go, I don't think you have the moxie for this. And I can kind of develop it. I'm like, I don't think so. You deal in a very rudimentary brain world. You show up every day, you get your little check, you get your, every Friday, everything's on gear for you. Like,
right.
There's no guaranteed check for you or I. There's, you get. I've checked my mail on Friday and there's no check there. Sometimes it's a pink slip. So and I'm like,
be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the thing.
It's signed by me.
You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That has to be what's normal to you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's an example. The guy you're talking about sounds like an example of the type of person watching a conversation like this that should not act on it. They should just not. You know this. Entrepreneurs know this. There's a period of time, and it's fucking long. It's way longer than people think. Okay, for me, it was like 7 years, 6 years, where you're so far into it, you can't see where you came from, and there's no avenue of retreat, and you're not far enough into it where you can see any outcome that's in any way clear.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in that lonely middle. That's a lonely place to be, and entrepreneurs don't talk about that very much. Because the way that people see them is, oh, this person had a good idea. Yeah, they worked hard for like a year and then boom, now they're rich.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way ever. So
yeah.
People, whether they're 60 or they're 20, they need to understand that. Now, I will say this, though, this is a point I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, and I think this is the one thing I did really, I did right early. When I was 18, 19, 20 in there, it was very clear to me I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I had a lot of ambition. And I told myself, I said, look, it's gonna be moonshots between now and 25. I'm gonna live lean,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna take all the risk. There's no risk not worth taking here.
Mm-hmm.
Then I turned that into 30, because all of a sudden I was 25. Point is I think more people should do that.
Yeah,
I think they should do that.
Starting young really helps. I was talking about this the other day on the show. We were 22 when we started our first multimillionaire company, me and my partner. Before that, I started my own stuff.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of failures and losses and things you learn from. But our first big home run, I said to my business partner, we were both 22 at the time, and I go, look, we're probably going to be working 18-hour days. This is all sweat equity, driving cars, driving all over the state. This is going to be grindy as fuck. And, we're two kids living on, top ramen and shit.
Yeah.
And, but I think we can smack this one out of the park and have a future. And I told him, I go, or here's the other option. We can wait till we're 50, get a golden parachute, assuming we are able to climb the corporate ladder. I've been reading Harvard Business Review for most of my life at that point. So I knew that it's a worthy goal. There's a lot of risks and fallout that can happen. It's almost a miracle. Mm-hmm. And I said, but I got to tell you, I don't think I'm going to have the energy for this at 50. And boy, was I right, because I'm 50 now.
Yeah.
50-ish. And so I think starting young really helped. And part of it, I think, made it easier for us to get through the shit because we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just scraping for anything.
You didn't have anything to lose.
Yeah, we didn't have anything to lose. That's good.
Right. You didn't have your retirement to lose, like the 60-year-old guy example you just gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not the time to gamble. I mean, many investment guys will tell you that there. What haven't we discussed that we should tease out to people or help educate with people on what you do and how you do it?
Well, one of the things that I keep getting choked to death with from everybody I talk to is AI, and I want to talk about it a little bit.
Let's do.
The reality of it is here's what I see, and by no means am I obviously I'm not a marketing or market expert of financial markets, but I see every company, certainly every company that I interact with, running aggressively right now, aggressively to spend as much money on AI and allocate as much budget for next year to AI as they possibly can. And that pressure in a lot of cases is coming from private equity funds, venture capital funds, investors, shareholders, right? But here's what's, and I don't mean this to sound negative in any way. Here's what the reality is, in my view. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. They have no idea how they're going to use AI, what AI actually is going to do for them, what the tools are going to be, what the tools could do. Nobody. And the people that everybody thinks knows and they're on top of it, they have their thumb on the pulse. If you get in a room with them and they think you know more about AI than they do, they'll start asking you questions that illustrate very clearly to you, indicate very clearly to you they don't know anything about it. So everybody's running towards the same thing, and everybody else is assuming that everyone knows what they're doing other than themselves. And I'm seeing that. It scares the shit out of me because here's what's going to happen. This is happening now. Q1 comes around, then the pressure is going to change. And again, the pressure is coming from shareholders who, by the way, know nothing about AI. Nothing. Nobody knows anything about AI. It's like 3 people.
Yeah.
Right. So
probably AI knows everything about AI, and that's about it. But he's not talking to us.
The pressure is going to change when they have to start showing an ROI on that investment.
What? An ROI?
Oh yeah, on their AI investment.
Now?
Oh yeah. So then that's where things are going to get a little hairy in 26. I think that's what's coming. But on the upside, here's how I see, like, if you just look at like a sales team inside of a big company, Microsoft, for instance, how should they harness AI? I think the evolution is going to be really kind of messy in the beginning. They're going to try to automate with it, right? And they're going to try it. That's what they're doing. They're trying to automate and trying to replace people. I don't think that's going to work. I think what's going to happen is there'll be a pivot, and then they'll start using it for augmentation. So it helps them think better, because what's dangerous is if you rely on AI to think for you. Look, I played around with it. I played around with it for like a good solid week, and I felt dumb when I was done. I stopped using the muscle.
Yeah.
And it was just I felt 20% dumber. So that's what's going to happen, and I think that we'll see a pivot, and then people will start using it to augment their work so they can think better and more efficiently, but they're still thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of I can't remember if it was Jamie Dimon or somebody, but there was somebody who is I think there's a few different voices that are warning about basically the .com style crash, too big to fail style crash. Same thing with the housing crisis. One of those things. So much dumb money, crazy money is being just thrown wholesale at AI.
Yeah, it's an example of running in the opposite direction to a degree. I'm not ignoring it and being contrarian about it.
Yeah.
But like I can tell you right now, if you're a B2B company like me, and you want to make more money in 26 than you did last year, and just come up with some random AI product and talk about it and use the word AI, and people will throw money at you.
Oh.
I mean, being a little facetious, but not really. I mean, I've had companies say to me, "Hey, can we just explain an AI emphasis on this so I can get it put through?" I mean, I get that, but that's the kind of pressure they're under. So anyway, I think there's a lot that is going to come to surface over the next year, certainly over the next 6 months, with how this is going to impact the work environment for people.
Yeah, it's even been kind of interesting how it's affected our governance of our government and stuff. The Biden administration was trying to evidently, this is something I got from Mark Andreessen, and a few other people, I guess, and they were talking about how I guess the Biden administration was trying to kind of contain AI so it didn't become, a monster. And I guess get access to weapon systems, I suppose.
Yeah.
And they wanted 3 handpicked companies to be the developers for that. And of course, that doesn't really work well in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the rebellions that we're kind of on the weird side of now by Silicon Valley, and why you've seen so many people in Silicon Valley go from the left to the right. And and I think a lot of it has to do with this fight over who's going to control AI and who's, Mark Zuckerberg. When you look at the billions he piled into the meta technology, what was that crap he was doing? The fake profiles or whatever.
Oh yeah.
With the glasses and stuff, that was a bomb.
I
And
know.
so all these guys, they need the next big thing. They're hooked on that drug for the next big thing. And so, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get on this train. Because probably
you're right about. I mean, I'm in DC, so I see it, and I know people in the administration. I mean, there is a shift. I mean, maybe it's just because they're sucking the power teat. I don't know, but $400 million from Zuckerberg went to the Democrats a couple of years ago, and now he's coming to the White House for dinner.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
to see all the Silicon Valley people lapped up at to the inauguration, going to things and yes sir, no sir, whatever you want, sir.
But it's a good collaboration because I think you remember the website, the $9 billion website for, I think it was Obamacare or something, and it didn't even work.
Oh yeah, it crashed the first day.
So it's sort of like government shouldn't try to be a tech company.
That's true.
Not a good idea. But
AI
is a little scary.
It's good that Dodge sold our data to Planeter. I'm sure that they'll do something ethical with it, since no one knows half of what they do. Sure it'll end well, but
sure
whatever.
Will.
Sure. 1984. So there you go. Well, as we go out, give people a final pitch out to utilize you, reach out to you to find out more about your services,
sure,
how they can work with you, et cetera, et cetera.
If you're a tech company that has outbound sales reps or salespeople that are just doing prospecting, reach out to me. If you're a business owner and you don't have a team yet, I run a thing twice a year. I'm running it right now called Fast Track. Reach out to me. WoodwardStrategies.com. Gregory C. Woodward on LinkedIn.
There you go. Yeah. So it's been wonderful and insightful to have on the show. I'm glad that you confirmed all the things that I thought were right. So that helps make it so that I think you're awesome.
Well, thank you.
The affirmation.
The affirmation of the day.
Good to know there's other people damaged as I am to become entrepreneurs.
That's right. We got to stick together.
Honestly, I didn't know what I would do without ADHD. Maybe I'd just be working at McDonald's still flipping burgers, and there's nothing wrong with that, folks. It's a worthy enterprise. Everyone's got their place in society.
Well, the worst is when people say, I only have a week of vacation. I'm like, what are you, like, in prison?
Are you in prison?
Yeah, like I can't live that way, and most people can, and that's great, and there's nothing wrong with it. You're right, but to me, it's just it's surprising to me that the 89-90% of the rest of the people here think that that's okay.
Yeah, I remember I had I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years at this point. And my brother was like, hey, I was living in California. He goes, hey, can we come stay at your house, save some money? I got the 2 kids and the wife, and, it's costly for hotel rooms. And can we crash at your house and, go over to Disneyland? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. You're my brother. Yeah. And he had it all scheduled with me. He goes, I've got this week off. It's cleared at my work. And we're going to come down. So I had activities planned for them to keep them happy and engaged. I don't have any kids or wives. I can't afford the divorces, but I'm still saving up. I got about $2 million saved. I think that should handle my first.
Still saving up for your first divorce.
Still saving up for the first divorce, and then the second one after that, because you got to do 2 really quick.
Yeah.
I got to catch up to most men my age.
That's right.
So it's a speed run, and so he calls me as I'm starting to expect them to start driving down from Utah to come to California, and he goes, hey man, my boss says, even though I put in for this time off, that they're shorthanded, I can't have it. So we're going to have to put this off for a month or 2. And I remember how shocked I was. I was like, and I told him, I go, why don't you tell him to take a flying fucking leap? Well, he works at hospitals, right?
Yeah.
So if you're bad with one hospital or doctor, word's going to get around. Why did you get fired? Oh, I told the doctor I fucking leave. But I was so stunned. I'm like, how can they do that to you? Like, let's call my attorney. And he's like, no, you can't do that in this situation. I'm like, what do you mean you can't do that? I do it all the time.
Well, the other thing that's equally is troubling to me is, but look, and there's nothing wrong with this. If most people are this way, that doesn't. Just for me, there would be something wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
Having a capped income, where
Mhm.
where you're 9 hours a day or 8 hours a day, and then you know exactly how much you're going to make and no more. To me, that takes the excitement out of it. I mean, if I had to work for another company, I would be in sales, just because I can put the ball wherever I want. I can aspire to make more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like if you see, I have friends that are like teachers, right? And like there's really there's no way to get rich doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard, and
Yeah.
you either get that guaranteed security. I mean, I used to have a lot of when we had our big sales company in Utah. I mean, we had people making 20 grand a month off me,
Yeah.
but off themselves for what they were selling, and
Yeah.
so um, they would come to work for us, and we give them $2,500 a month draw, and then
Yeah.
usually I'd have to increase that in a month or two. We had a great lead system, so we almost forced you to make a lot of money, and you had to work hard not to. And but a lot of, and this is back in the 90s, but a lot of women back then in Utah,
Yeah.
totally changed when I went to California and Vegas, a different crowd, but they didn't want to do uh, jobs that didn't involve security. Well, is there a guarantee? No.
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing they would bug me about is they go, was there health insurance? And I'm like, no, you're making 20 grand a month. You can afford your own. Like,
Yeah.
I either pay you 20 grand a month. If I went to any of my 20 grand a month guys and went, hey, I've got to reduce your income by a couple thousand a month to pay for health
Yeah.
insurance, they tell me to take a flying fucking leap. Right.
Yeah. They would.
But then they would still complain about me how we didn't have health insurance. And I was like,
Right.
whatever.
Employees
I
are a
mean,
pain in the ass.
when you came to me, I
Yeah.
offered you a $2,500 a month draw, and you were peeing your pants over $2,500. So give me a break.
Yeah.
But yeah, there really is a mindset. I think over time you can kind of develop it, but there's a certain that obsessive compulsive nature that we have, that OCD, where we can just take an idea and just eat the shit out of it from every different angle. I think it's hard to do.
Well, what's difficult is there was no education. There is no education, formal education that I'm aware of, whether it's high school or college,
Mhm.
that teaches you how to make money. And before you say, well, business school, that doesn't teach you how to make money.
That doesn't.
No. Sometimes if you get lucky and you go to a really good one of your professors is a former CEO, and because of their specific interest in a subject, they may give you some pointers, right?
Mhm.
But nobody knows how to make money. And the other thing that nobody learns in school, and we keep going back to school because I think this is just a really important thing.
Mhm.
I think education's dead, by the way. I think it's going to be disrupted. I think it is being disrupted,
It's
and I think that's a positive thing.
definitely.
But the other thing that they don't teach is mindset. Like, that's the most important thing, way more than skills. In my
Yeah.
training programs, mindset creates more of a result than anything else in people, and they don't even touch it in school.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty obsolete.
It's crazy. To me, that's crazy. It's just insane.
I mean, there's so many things they don't teach that they need to teach in school. How to manage your credit report, what credit is, how to balance a checkbook,
Yeah.
how to,
How to
what
do
is
your taxes.
how do taxes work, like all these skills. I've even joked for years they should force people that if you want to breed and have kids
Yeah.
and get married, you need to take 2 years of college to, number one, get rid of all your traumas and all the shit from childhood. So see a
Yeah.
therapist. Then you need to learn how to have healthy relationships with other healthy human beings and
Yeah.
how to raise children properly. You don't let them free roam. You put them in the dog cage, and until they need to go poop.
Yeah.
I think they call that, and stuff. All those things that CPS keeps telling me I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I really think, it's so amazing to me how people are just like so flippant about it. Like, I'm going to go ruin some poor bastard's innocent life by bringing my wreckage of. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just doing jokes, folks. Don't write me. So there you go. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. It's been insightful and all that great stuff, Greg. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And give us the .com one last time as we go out.
WoodwardStrategies.com.
There you go. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Greg. We really appreciate it.
You got it.
Thanks, Ernest, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss, one of the TikToking, and Facebook.com/Chris Voss. Don't make me pull the car over and come back there, folks, because I will. Don't test me. Anyway, has anyone seen the dog lately? That's a National Lampoon Vacation joke. You Gen Zers can go look that up. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. There you go. Not bad.